Don't open that box. What have you done? You shouldn't have opened it. You shouldn't have opened it. Opened it. Opened
Hello, listening people.
Hello.
Oh.
Oh wait, were you saying something?
I was going to just say you're listening to Spin Polish
Oh,
Presents.
That's weird because I usually say hello after you say hello, listening people. I wasn't trying to interrupt you.
Oh, you fucked it up big time.
I fucked it up by thinking it was the same as ever, and my name
Hello.
is Bartek.
Hello, listening people. You're listening to Spin Polish Presents. I am one of your hosts, Ryan Sawinski, and then you're like, hello, I am Bartek, and then we are like off to the races.
Okay, well, we've said all the words, so you can edit it in
No,
post.
I'll edit it really awkwardly. Hello, Bartek! So, we are doing our show, our monthly show, The Mystery Box, in which we, as a group, as a society, as a unit, as the universe, as
The
a
universe.
platoon, watch a movie or video project or some kind of DVD that has been found secondhand. It's been bought and possessed from an opportunity shop or a funeral home or the gutter, and we don't know what it is. We don't have any history with it. We put it in. We watch it. It's completely random. Chosen random. They're all wrapped up in a box. And we discuss what we saw, if we liked it, what it was, what we theorize, everything, and
What we thought they were going to be based on the cover and things like that.
yeah. So Bartek,
Yes,
we're Spin Polish, likely because we're always spinning, and we both happen to be Polish.
I know that. Why are you telling me, stupid?
Because I want you to tell me the title of the movie we watched in Polish.
What story in Polish? What word?
We're watching
will they
Toy
use?
Story. It's hard,
I
isn't
can
it?
I can use history, I guess. Wojna historia, maybe. I don't know.
Wow, we're watching.
I know Wojna is war.
We watched a thing called War Story, but we have a guest that chose War Story. It was completely on their heads that they chose this. There's no ifs and or buts. I mean, sure,
With the
they're all wrapped up and you can't tell what's what, but
with the mystery box,
they knew.
With the mystery box, that's always a given. Saying like, "Oh, it's on their heads. They're the ones that picked this." It's yeah.
Hello, our guest, Mr. Will Brooks.
Hello, listening people.
Hello.
It was well and truly on my head, and then once we watched War Story, I realized that the egg was truly on my face.
But the real egg was the chicken before it. And that chicken was smothered all over my face because I'm the one who found War Story in the first place. I'm the one who bought it. I found War Story at an op shop. I bought it at the same time that I bought the infamous The Rise and Fall of Baal, which is an episode we already have that you can listen to. I bought this at the same time, and this DVD had a cover that did not have a DVD cover on it. It was just a case, and it had the DVD hidden within it, and it just says in bold red writing with a white kind of shadow effect, War Story in all caps.
And be fair, the cover did have a price tag on it.
It was $2. I spent $2 dues on
And
this.
0 cents.
Money well spent.
And this intrigued me because it's just a DVD, no cover, and the DVD has War Story written on the bottom, and it just has a dude's face that looks like the Grim Reaper, and he is wearing some kind of hood, and he's got a kind of demonic-looking black face that you can't see the eyes, just the nose and the mouth. And the rest of the image is kind of black. But now that we've seen the movie,
It makes complete sense.
it does, because that's
Also,
not
don't say
in fact
movie.
a hood. It is a hat.
Yes, it is. Yes.
It is not in fact a hood, but a hat.
It is a hat.
And now that makes far more sense. We watched a TV show, gentlemen.
3 episodes of what you looked up, and it was a 9-episode series.
9-episode series.
And
called-
were they in chronological order, right?
No.
Well, it was like 4, 8, and 6 or something.
Yeah.
In that order?
4, 8, and 6 in that exact order. And War Story.
Almost all the even-numbered ones.
Before we even get into it, I had high expectations of this.
This was one that you were very excited for because similar to Baal, there was this one had no information except the disc.
And it was literally right next to Baal in the shop, so
And
I
that,
felt like they might have been related. Like, a part of me was like, hey, if we watch this, do I have to message Daniel, the editor of Rise and Fall of Baal, to get some explanations of this movie?
remind me, was this when you bought these together, was this the session where the lady behind the counter said,
No.
oh, finally?
No, that was just Finding Emo, a film that
Finding
we
Emo,
have
my
done on the
mistake.
show as well. That was in a different shop. Now, I was excited. I had weird expectations for this. I thought it was going to be about the Grim Reaper or death or some kind of like really the best way I could describe what I was expecting was in Australia, I know in other places, of course, but I can only refer to Australia, we had these really scary anti-smoking ads when growing up. Like, a guy would be like, hello there, I'm a doctor, and I've got your lung. Here's your lung. And if you're a smoker, I'll twist this lung, and all this tar will come out. And I thought it was going to be like that kind of like full-on thing. But
The war against tobacco?
No, but about war in general.
Right.
So I thought like it would be like this really ghoulish kind of that 90s, early 2000s scare tactic kind of media.
Every cigarette is doing you damage. Every time you inhale, tobacco smoke condenses in your lungs to form tar. This is a healthy lung. And this is the amount of tar a pack-a-day smoker breathes in every year. Every cigarette is doing you damage.
We were very excited because when we put it in, Will, you're in the bathroom, unfortunately, but when we put it in,
I'm
we
there
got a
a lot.
bunch of logos coming up, so we knew it was a movie. We knew it was a
We
real
knew it wasn't.
thing.
Yeah, we knew that this wasn't just some this wasn't
Homemade.
burned or homemade.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And one of the things that came up was a strictly Australian logo. I can't remember what it was now. It was like something Australia.
There was something like
And we
that,
were like,
yeah.
ooh, it's going to be Australian, yay. And like all this funky
Well, no, I remember my
graphics
reaction
came up and you said, oh, it's a sci-fi. Remember when you claimed that because you saw some graphics flying through space, you said, oh, it's a sci-fi.
I think that was a joke, but
Oh, I thought you were deadly serious.
No,
I took you at your very, very utmost respect because I also hoped it was a sci-fi. Because sci-fi really is my friend on this show. And Will, you chose this. How did you feel before we actually got to sit down and see it?
Well, well, I was initially worried that it was going to be another Japanese demonic porno thing going on there.
despite the fact that we told you like 5 times we don't have any more hentais.
That I'm aware
And,
of.
you know, to be entirely fair, I think you could definitely still argue that War Story, you know, is a pornographic work, but we'll get into that later.
I want to hear that, yeah.
I was expecting something quite bloody, quite a spectacle.
Bit
Big
more gory.
explosions,
Can I counter you?
big
or
battles.
Can I counter you on
Yeah,
something too?
go counter me right ahead.
I also thought that this was going to be a filmed lecture about war. Because Will and I have a history of obtaining DVDs that are actually just filmed lectures. Isn't that right, Will?
Really?
That did happen. That
Will-
has happened.
Will has obtained over the years copies of DVDs from people on the street, handing them out, and they're usually religious ones. And they usually have those scary names, like the baptism of fire. And then you watch it, and it's like a filmed lecture from 1994, and it's some guy being like,
Like
now
local?
the thing about Jesus. No, never local. It's usually like Americans or
Right.
like English people. It's like, the thing about our Lord Jesus Christ was that he was in fact a savior. And you're like, oh.
I'm trying to remember from the last one we watched. There was
It-
that bloke with that really nasally voice.
Yeah.
I mean, talking about. I remember he went on for like 10 minutes about like fascii, the symbol of the bundle of sticks together. The fascii, the fascii,
But
fascii,
in
fascists.
fact, War Story was not a film lecture, nor was it a film. It was a television show We knew this because the menu gave us 3 episodes. It said episode 1, episode 2, episode 3.
And their titles.
Boys, tell us the titles of those if you can remember them.
The first one, I believe, was An Old Ghost Walks Among Us or something?
Walks the land.
Walks the Land.
Walks the land.
Good try, Bartek.
The second one was Dusk to Dawn.
Not From Dusk Till Dawn, which is the Robert Rodriguez Quentin Tarantino movie. Would love that.
And the last one was just The Fragging?
The fragging.
Yeah.
Yes.
Really poignant in that one. So...
We watched them in order.
We watched them in the order that the DVD
that told us. So,
It's
but
not
4, 8, and
chronological.
6
Now,
you've seen every
here's the
episode.
thing. It's a mystery, this show. But I broke that mystery in the first episode.
Yes.
Because there was one actor in this particular episode
I'm already laughing.
who was a black man. And I said very tentatively, I don't want to sound racist, but, and that's always a good way to start a sentence, I think that guy looks exactly like, if not is, in fact, Wesley Snipes. And Bartek, you're like, I don't know what he looks like, is what your whole thing is. Like, I know of him, but I don't know what the famous actor Wesley Snipes looks like, which is...
I might remember, like, guy wearing sunglasses, but I don't know his exact features.
Well, he has those beautiful lips and cheekbones.
I did notice.
Like that, and the eyes. The eyes are pretty gorgeous too. He's a sexy man. And then, Will, you were berating me a little bit by being like, oh, you know, he looks a little like him, but I wouldn't say exactly like him. Like, I could see how you may draw a comparison.
Whoa,
like,
whoa.
on the whole thing of like...
I did say I'm bad with faces, but
There came a point, though, where Will was like, oh my god, he actually
he
does
took
look
off
like
his
him.
hat.
as soon as,
and
he
he's
took
like-
off, as soon as I saw the hair, it's like,
And
that
then,
was it.
And then I got motivated. I googled Wesley Snipes, and I was originally going to do it to show Bartek what the photo of Wesley Snipes looked like. To be like, doesn't he look like Wesley Snipes? But then I just clicked on his IMDb, scrolled to very early on in his career, and I saw a show called Vietnam War Story. Once the first episode, and I looked that up, it took a bit of the mystery away of, oh, this is an anthology television series. And after the first episode, I did demand and was rejected of, could we please choose another item from the box so we could actually have something to discuss. But in the end, we watched all 3.
They were all half an
And
hour long, so it
they're
was feature
all-
length, basically.
it
And-
feels feature length.
Does it? And then we watched all 3. Let's dive into episode 1 of War Story. I wanted to call it Ghost Story for a second there. That's a very different title.
When he died, I was so sad that I would never hear that voice again. His laugh. His funny little requests.
Touch me.
His reprimands.
Touch me harder.
Shirotami, please forgive me for bringing you back to life. I know now that it could never work between us. As much as we wanted to, it could never be. Not because you're a rabbit, but because you're black.
Episode 1, aka episode 4,
AKA?
aka episode 4.
May I just make a point?
I have a
first?
thick
Oh,
accent, Ryan.
also,
Don't make fun of me.
It's one of the only episodes that we watched that had a rating on IMDb. So just absorb that in. The others that we watched didn't have a rating on IMDb as individual
You
episodes.
told us that you were going to tell us the rating in the episode, Ryan.
You want to guess? You saw it.
Was it an Australian?
7 out of 10. 7 out of 10.
Okay, good.
Oh,
try.
you meant like out of 10.
On IMDb.
Oh, I thought you meant like classification rating. Like, oh, well, is it G or what are you talking
Oh,
about?
dude, they said fuck a lot in this. I would
Yeah,
love it if
they
it was a
did.
G.
But I mean, it's educational content, so maybe PG.
Is it though?
Okay, so it had a rating
Don't
out
you
of
feel
10.
like you
I didn't,
learned
I didn't
things?
think about that.
that individual episode, I'm asking, not
yeah.
the series.
Was it surprisingly high?
I'm not telling you. You have to guess.
7.
He said 7.
I'm gonna guess 8.4.
5.1.
I was almost there.
Will was closer.
Yeah, it was.
And the series as a whole has a rating of 7.5.
I was almost.
But none of the episodes rank above 6 that are rated.
Okay, all right.
So let's talk
It
about
only works as a complete package.
a ghost that walks among us.
Wait,
Whatever
first,
it's called.
may I make
An old.
make a
ghost.
point
Yes.
Yes.
before we dive deep?
Dive into Wesley Snipes' mouth. Yeah.
I feel a bit lied to about this title, guys. Do you want to know why?
Because you thought there was going to be a ghost?
Well, no, because it's called War Story.
Oh.
But because it's an anthology, it's War Stories.
Yeah, no, it's a fucking lie.
It's well.
I feel a bit
To
betrayed.
be fair though, I guess, to their credit, and as far as we know from the 3 of the 9 that we have seen, they were all about the same war.
So the first episode, what was it called, Will? Or a ghost that walks?
An old ghost walks the
Land.
Land.
Yeah.
Okay. So, this is a story that is a part of this anthology series, which I should disclose are all true stories.
Oh, really?
They are all true stories from Vietnam vets.
I can believe it.
Oh, yes.
They all seemed very plausible.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, they do. I'll get back to why I went, yeah, on that one. So, and it involves
all-
this
it's
first
all
episode.
very
So,
plausible.
we are introduced to this with a brilliant narration. that only appears in this one episode, in episode 4 of this series. So, quite odd. And we laughed hysterically. It was like over grainy, black and
Yeah.
white, bluish footage of children who were naked and crying, and everyone's, it's like complete misery. You know, the historical footage of the Vietnam War and all the events and all the horrors. But then you get a voiceover that sounds like that guy that does the ads for National Tiles on on radio.
Whoa. The guy in the narration in this wasn't putting anywhere near the effort of Frank Walker from National Tiles, Ryan.
Or any
That
man
is-
of nose.
That is one of the most offensive and un-Australian things you have ever said on this
guy,
podcast.
This guy who narrated it sounded nasally and weird. He
so
was so... No, Frank Walker from National Tiles is
Frank
like...
Walker from...
You know what I'm doing? They both sound like they're cousins.
Hello, Frank Walker from National Tiles. This week, National Tiles have a beautiful range of polished porcelain floor tiles, slashed by up to 30% and more. Yes, until this Sunday only at National Tiles. Save up to 30% and more on our beautiful range of polished porcelain floor tiles.
When America pulled out of Vietnam, it had lost more than the lives of 58,000 men. It had lost its innocence. The following stories portray the tragedy of that time.
So this story that we're introduced to is from the perspective of a fairly new recruit at this specific area of Vietnam. I don't think we even get told where. It's just like
Yeah, it's some village.
It's just a village.
some village that the soldiers are in, and he's like this southern white guy with a very, very, very innocuous accent that none of us really noticed until the
There's a bit
character
of a
himself
twang.
pointed out that he had an accent,
Yeah, there
and
are
then we were supposed to be like, oh, he has one of
The
note?
southern twang.
It's like if you were to listen to him, you'd be like, oh, yeah, I guess he has an accent. But then when he specifically points it out as a thing, it's like, oh, was that meant to be a thing?
Yeah, and...
It's like, oh, Ryan, you have an Australian accent. It's like, oh.
crikey, don't Then it's just him and Wesley Snipes bickering for the whole episode, basically, until it all comes to a tragic end where Wesley Snipes was right. The end.
Yeah, it's kind of like a story. It's the story of, you know, new recruit is emotionally invested in a lot of things, and the veteran or the
Senior.
senior tells him you have to let go of your emotions in order to survive out here. And then senior dies, and the guy's more serious now.
Yeah, because the guy got emotionally invested.
And I guess the old ghost is that way of thinking, or something like that.
Oh, yeah, please tell me where the title comes in, please.
I just did.
Is that your interpretation of it? Is that the facts?
I think. Well, my interpretation.
the old ghost that haunts the land is the cynicism of the people who've been in the situation longer.
Yeah? Okay, great. Cool. I didn't pick up on that. I just wanted it to
You say
finish.
pick up, it was just an interpretation.
No, I mean, I did not factor in the title's thematic resonance to the
That-
story.
Right, Bartek.
That's
It's
the-
objectively right.
That's the only one I thought of. I guess the third one's very on the nose, but...
So, Wesley Snipes is great in it. As great as one can be within this HBO show that was from a different time, that are doing a very serious, true stories within a half-hour format. He was great. The rest of them were there. Nothing happened. It was just basically the main guy had an affinity towards a small Vietnamese girl that gave him coffee. And an affinity
wasn't it
towards...
tea?
No, coffee, because she was like, coffee?
I thought it was tea.
Cafe.
I didn't think she said coffee.
I'm going to drop it every time you say it's tea. I say fucking coffee. I swear to you.
Also drop in when
Look,
she
I'm
meows.
not doubting that I'm wrong. I'm usually pretty wrong. I just thought it was tea.
Cafe.
And then he also has an affinity towards a guy with one leg.
Yeah, he has an affinity towards a guy with one leg, a little girl, and the photos of his family back home.
He's
He
a
has two
naive
kids.
man, but he cares about the welfare of the village.
And
He was checking their crops. They were blighted. He was trying to deal with that.
And when all
Was
of
he?
them die, he gets sad.
he's
But he gets
sick.
hardened.
Metapod! Hornet! No!
There's nothing of note. There's no... The only things are that they get the
Kind of got to
histor-
discuss how it ends.
No, let's... The historical relevance is every character is supremely racist. So Wesley Snipes is really racist, and he has this really, to us and to the main characters, since he's our point of view character, is very abrasive and toxic view of the scenario. But then through the events of what happens, you realize that it's an appropriate, if still toxic, but an appropriate tactics to survive in a war-like scenario in which no one wants you there. And, you can completely understand what Wesley Snipes' ideology was once the episode is over. And that is, I guess, good storytelling in that sense, but... it's only half an hour. It's really gritty, true story stuff, and you just go, this should be longer.
Yeah.
I didn't even know Wesley Snipes' name in it. I didn't know I didn't know where they were. I didn't know what their ranks were. I didn't know what their overall purpose was. I didn't know anything.
Yeah, they were like
really.
they were like renovating a village and looking after the villagers or something like that. And then at some point, an off-screen Viet Cong, I guess, straps grenades to the little girl.
Oh, and they shoot the cripple.
Yeah, there was something about a
Well,
cripple. Yeah.
there's a guy with one leg, and the local Vietnamese army that's on the side of the Americans want to shoot him because they think he's a spy.
Mm-hmm.
And our main guy barges in after being told not to, and he's like, "Fuck you guys, and your jurisdiction here is it's not valid. We're in charge. I want him to be okay." And then they shoot him anyway. Because? I don't remember why they shot the crippled guy in the end. Is it because he wanted to bathe in the river? And they were like, no. So
That's sus, bathing. That's sus.
so they shot him.
Well,
And
Wesley
then-
Snipes did
and
die
then-
in the river.
And then Wesley Snipes yells at him and says, "This is all your fault because you have pictures of your family." That literally happens. And then he's like, "You need to grow a pair by removing your emotions." And then he's like, "Nah."
The first thing I told you was about not getting too attached to this place. Well, now you see. You're not thinking about here, about what's really going down here. Those pictures you got, if you want to see those kids again, you burn those pictures. You throw them away. If you want to make it back home, you don't think about home. You think about here, and you don't mix them up. Now, you quit this bullshit, taking up for the villagers and playing with little girls. You're going to get them killed, and you're going to get us killed.
And then a little girl meows at him.
Down.
And then they're at the river.
While offering him tea.
Cafe.
Well, then.
But at this point, he was trying to harden,
Maximum hardness, Metapod.
so he slapped it out of her hands.
Yeah, because Wesley Snipes has got to harden up, so he tries to scare the little girl away, and scares her away, and she runs off into the forest.
Oh! Remember when she cries? We knew that she was crying because she put her hands blankly onto her face and then ran away.
Yeah. And it's his fault that in the end she got grenades strapped to her because she cried and ran into the forest and obviously got captured. and got grenades strapped to her hands. Why didn't they go off instantly? I don't know how grenades work in that regard. Like, how much time? Where were they? Right there, like
these grenades were like minute timers. Or something.
Have they tied her hands down to like the thing you hold to?
No,
kind of delay.
I don't know. Can we just skip back to a second of the menu and how the menu's war story of the T?
It's the little girl with the grenade.
That's right. The T in story is spelled by having a photoshopped image of the little Vietnamese girl in a crucifix-like pose, crying profusely with grenades in her hands.
In the arc...
Tasteful design, guys. I mean, I know it's true story stuff, but tasteful.
Yeah, in the part where she has the grenade strapped to her, she always is basically T-posing.
She meowed. That was a highlight.
Yeah.
We all had a good laugh at that. Because we couldn't understand her because she's speaking Vietnamese, and Bartek stated that she sounded like a cat. And that was funny. That was the highlight of the thing. And in the end, they're washing their clothes in the river. She comes crying over. The Vietnamese guys want to shoot her instantly. Our hero's like, no, I'm going to run over there, cut one grenade off of her hand, throw it, and then not do with the other grenade and just push her away. And then Wesley Snipes tries to get it off, and he's like, no, get away from her. And Wesley Snipes just jumps on her. And they die in the river, and our main hero is like forever haunted and changed, and he burns his family pictures and becomes a tough man. He becomes Wesley Snipes.
Very specifically, he burns the picture of his family on the funeral pile of the little girl who's been killed.
It
was a very tasteful scene.
The little girl's been killed, the mother's crying, they're cremating her over a fire, and he chucks his fucking photos in there.
Can you imagine you getting the urn? Here are your daughter's ashes and some paper.
I was saying, like, how rude is that? Like, what's next? He's just going to chuck a sausage on there? Like what's the limits here? You
Get
know?
the snags going.
And then the mum's like,
pile.
get away. And he's like, you have no jurisdiction here. It was just, like, it's a true story. And here's why I went, okay, before about, the...
Ooh, we're getting clarification.
I want to know why... If it's true in the true story, why he only cut one grenade off when he had all the time in the world to do both and throw them away?
It feels like they were doing a dramatization, but they only went halfway, and they made the epic, like, I'm gonna run, take one and throw it, and then, well, I survived, so get her away from me, and you died, get to her.
And anything else of note in episode 1 of War Story?
They made, the field so they can make lots of rice.
That was what happened.
And that's
there.
An old ghost walks the land.
Okay.
The old ghost is the rice.
I'm glad that we stuck with these because I was disheartened after that one. I was like, Wesley Snipes is in it. That's interesting.
Wait.
But wait, I said, please, can we select another thing that's an actual movie? And we can have something to talk about. And Bartek specifically was like, we don't do that on this show. Press the chapter selection so I can have a gander at the next episode. And then Bartek was just like, just play it, you fucking complainer, Ryan. Just fucking play the episode.
It's because
just fucking play it.
I have something in my past that drew me to say play.
Yeah.
Are we gonna get
the excitement of Ryan at finally having picked War Story? So past Ryan, that was for you. Present Ryan,
so
episode, be a guy.
I'm just trying to be a guy.
Episode 2.
But wait, no, guys, we have actually forgotten something very important about episode 1.
Oh, what?
We were about to just fuck up the whole thing.
Oh, go on.
We didn't mention the lighter. The lighter, rather. Not the lighter. Whatever the fuck that is. We didn't mention the lighter. Does someone want to elaborate on the lighter? Or
I'll remember. I'll do it because Bartek didn't remember it when we talked about it in the episode. When we were watching it. In the first episode, Wesley Snipes is playing with his... I think it's him playing with his Zippo lighter in front of the children. And he's just like, it always lights. And then later on, that will be prevalent in the third episode.
He's gonna sell it for money.
Episode 2, motherfucker!
Dusk
now,
to Dawn.
I know what you're saying. Does this episode have a famous actor in it too? You're right, it does. It has Lars from Heavyweights.
And I am Lars.
Lars? What kind of name is that? Where are you from?
Far away.
So
also
that
ha-
was a highlight. It
it
also
also
had
had-
Hank
yeah.
from Breaking Bad in it, and he wasn't credited anywhere, and I can't find anywhere to credit him, but it was clearly him.
There were
Was there a credit at the end, maybe?
there were end credits, but they were really quick.
He wasn't credited on IMDb, so there you go. And Will, do tell us about the riveting story of this true story Vietnam-related war story.
How
Now,
was the Vietnam
Dusk
footage?
Till Dawn.
To Dawn.
No, from Dusk Till Dawn, the Robert Rodriguez movie, that takes place in the desert. Does this movie take place? Does this episode take place in the desert?
No, but
Does
it
it play-
felt like a desert in my soul.
But dude, it was in Vietnam, right?
No, there was... See, he's a Marine, right, our main character.
Oh,
but
right.
he's not... he's going to Vietnam, but he doesn't get there in the course of this story.
Oh, so he's back home in America just fucking about
Yes.
for half an hour, wasting my fucking time.
He's fucking
I could
about
have watched something else and talked about it. But
at a
here we
party.
are. Okay,
And then at a bar.
great.
A dive bar.
So then episode 3 was called Fragging.
The fragging.
And that episode was all about one crazy captain.
We're really not going to talk about episode 2?
What is there to talk about? What the fuck is there to talk about? I'll give you one sentence. I'll give you two things that you can talk about. Number 1, it had Lars in it. Number 2, there was a bartender that was fucking crazy.
And we're not going to talk about any of that?
We've got to elaborate on the bartender,
Okay,
surely?
So this fucking guy Lars is just fucking about with his 2 dumbass friends, one of which is Asian. That I guess matters in the story because he tells them a story about racism, but it doesn't really factor into fucking anything. So then they go to a random cocktail bar after leaving a bar where all their friends and family are because our main
I thought that was a family restaurant.
Oh, who gives a fuck? And
It was a
our main-
Denny's. It was a Denny's.
Lars from Heavyweights is just like, I'm going to die, so you guys need to come with me to this bar so I can talk to you guys about why you shouldn't join the army like me, because I'm a big idiot. Either way, it doesn't matter, because they're going to get fucking enlisted and conscripted anyway, so it doesn't really matter, so... And they fuck off to this bar, and Bartek made a comment where he thought the sign said, like, what was it? You didn't read the sign?
No, I
You were
said,
like,
what does
I
that
read it
line
properly.
says? I couldn't read the sign. Ryan Bartek?
I was just
Who am I
like-
talking to? Listening people, I couldn't read the sign.
And I just said what it said, that's all.
And then
And he
we
clarified it says cocktails.
And then,
I couldn't read
and then
it.
we're in the bar, and famous fucking anime voice dub actor John Snyder's there.
I
don't
can't
know,
read.
And he's there, and he's looking like a creep. He's from Babylon 5, evidently, too, so there you go. I've been watching Babylon 5. Our last Mystery Box had Babylon 5 people. This one has Babylon 5 people. I can't wait for the next month episode where it also has someone from Babylon 5. Huzzah! And the bartender, you guys were laughing hysterically. I was just glazed over. I'm just like, I don't give a shit.
Well, you're on the computer most of the time anyway.
No,
so-
I wasn't. Not at that point. And the first episode I was on the phone because I was like, what the fuck is this? And I was annoyed because I was being kind of told, I don't know who Wesley Snipes is, and it isn't Wesley Snipes. I'm like, I think it is Wesley Snipes. I want to
Listening
prove it.
people,
think it was
listening
Wesley
people,
Snipes.
I said I'm bad with faces. Don't judge me.
I said this guy looks exactly like Wesley
That's what you
Snipes,
said, yes.
and I think
I
he could
recognized
be
him
Wesley.
by
And I said,
the
I think that guy looks exactly like, if not is, in fact, Wesley Snipes. Mm-hmm. So the bar, we're there at the bar. There's a fucking whore there who wants a fucking second vodka shot. She's like banging the table. She's like, I want vodka. I want vodka. And the guy's just like,
She wants
I
a double
wanna...
vodka.
She's like, and the guy's just like, I've got my hair greased up and all in my fucking forehead and in my eyes like an idiot. So what happened there, guys? So you guys are laughing hysterically. What's going on with old bartender man?
Well, you're just skipping to the end, Ryan.
Well, the bartender man?
We'll skip right to the only thing that happens. So they walk into this cocktail dive bar, and there is this woman who's intoxicated, this harlot, as Ryan said.
There's a fucking whore there.
She wants a double shot of vodka.
And at what
the
price
good-
will
the
she
greasy
pay? At what
bartender.
price will she pay for that?
The best blowjob you've ever had, a fantastic blowjob. It was some kind of high quality blowjob.
He said he would only settle for a so-so blowjob, so there you go.
That's because he only gave her
Yeah.
one shot of vodka.
He gave her a lesser product, so he asked for a lesser price.
So,
Also, I think he said that he wanted to close like half an hour prior or something.
yeah, the idiot bloke comes in with his two mates. Dale's the
Oh,
main
I'm glad
character.
you fucking remember.
And they want some beer, and this woman's, freaking out over the double vodka, and she's like, oh, come on, be a guy, and give us the drinks.
They specifically
Be a
said
guy.
be a guy.
Not be a man, be a guy. And he does give her the single shot of vodka, and it's just like, oh, it'll be a so-so blowjob.
Yeah,
then.
and going forward, he references
And they give him the beer. They give him all some beer. And at some point in this conversation, it suddenly goes incredibly south, and the bartender pulls out a fully loaded revolver and starts rambling on about what the main character would or would not die for.
The revolver aside, the things that he was saying was meant to be poignant to things that happened prior to the bar.
Including, he repeatedly asked, would you die for yourself? Would you die for you?
But
And
I'm a
and I was
guy.
just losing it. And
I'm a
guy.
I'm a guy.
He says, I'm a guy a dozen times.
Okay, here's the thing. This guy at the bar, he speaks like a character that if at the end of this story you found out he wasn't real, like he was like a fictitious imagination of the guy's insecurities
He's
manifested
super-
into a physical human.
He super existed to drive a point home.
He is so artificial.
He feels
in what he
otherworldly.
is. He feels like if at the end the family went to try and find that cocktail bar, they would walk there and it would be like a disused factory with nothing there. And it would have been the son imagined, like the main character imagined him, and like, so he was just basically waving a gun and he was asking, would you die for your friends?
Would you die for her? Would you die for your family? Would you die for me?
To just give
Would
it...
you die for you?
I know we didn't like it, but to give it just a little tiny bit of credit, the story of this one was that, our main character, the Marine, is being sent to Vietnam.
He volunteered to go
to Vietnam.
But he regrets it.
And the first half of the story is set at this family restaurant party where there's just a bunch of dancing and music and
And a guy with an eye patch.
A guy with an eye, but there were two odd comic relief maybe moments there that made no sense. But basically, yeah, everyone's congratulating him, telling him he's doing a good job, but they're really emphasizing that they have no idea what he's going to be doing.
Right.
And he really emphasizes that, and when he leaves the bar, like, he has a whole speech about it outside at like a basketball court or something.
Yeah, where his nuts are warm.
Is it getting warmer or are my nuts? Yeah, it's getting warmer. And your nuts.
He has no idea what he's going to be doing over there, but he has a premonition that he's going to die. So
Well, I
he's
mean, we
trying
don't see the premonition.
He's trying to warn we don't have the budget for premonitions.
Yeah,
Come on.
He gets very angry whenever
He's trying to
either of these
warn
two
his
guys-
friends. Don't enlist like I did.
Yeah,
It's
and
like, I'm doomed,
One of
but
them,
you're not.
One of the friends, I think he was the one that was described as a hipster.
Oh, yeah.
I think he
looked
was.
like a fucking
I think
hipster.
he was like slightly Italian American. I kept thinking of like Greece.
Oh, I didn't think that at all, but I'm glad you did.
Yeah, and the other one.
Are you sure you're not thinking about the third one?
No.
The third episode?
I know who you're
where-
talking
where
about. The
there's
third
a
one,
guy
but
who's
no,
like,
not him.
I'm in the fucking shit, man.
And I'll say when they left the party, because that was just it was incomprehensible, and they were actually talking. And I was like, oh, okay, I'm understanding the themes that this story wants. Could the whole thing have been about it?
What are the themes?
Well, just the whole thing of like, he doesn't know what he's getting into. He has a premonition of death.
We don't see it.
And yeah, I know. And
We don't have the budget.
Yeah.
You could kind of infer it from what he was saying.
Yeah, but what's the themes? What's the message? What's it telling me? You're telling me what physically happens, but what does that mean? What does any of it mean?
Well, honestly, just war is hell, really. But like the way they're showing
What
it
are you
is-
talking about? Like, there has to be a message there. Like, there's nothing. You're telling me what just happens, but there's no thematic or message there. So that's why I'm fucking annoyed by this, because it's just like, it's a true story, and I don't want to discredit that. But it's just like, this one was probably the lamest true story one, because it's just about a guy who is like, oh, I'm going to get killed over there. And then he goes over there.
Yeah,
And we
very
don't get
clunky.
anything more of him. We don't know if he did die. We don't know if his friends did enlist. We don't know fucking anything. And they go to a bar where a fucking
Cartoon
where a
character.
fucking cartoon character, or no, it's not even the performance. It's just the writing. So it's a performance partly, yes, but it's the writing is just like, oh, we just got to slather on here this fucking writers wanking themselves off moment here, because what does the whole speech that he gives mean? Would that make you change in the way that it did main character? Why? What is the purpose of this? Because that's why I didn't like the bartender scene, because this is supposed to be the microcosm of what the thematic message of this story is. And I'm not getting an answer of what that thematic message is. You're just telling me that war is hell. Well, that's not even what it's about. It's just, what is this? It's just pointless.
I guess it kind of goes back to that whole notion, and this is way back, like World War One. They had the whole, it's going to be fun kind of thing, but there was also like the twist there of like, oh no, it was actually awful. So I guess, yeah, it's clunky. It's not too clear, but I felt like there was something there, but it just wasn't being brought across.
Well, he's a guy, that's what was there.
I'm just trying to be a guy.
Episode 3, the fragging.
Wait. I mean, the guy with the curly hair, the
hipster,
Bartek's Italian-American, Jeeves. I think his name was Jeeves for some
Really?
reason.
I don't remember that name
I don't
at
know.
all.
Teebs? Oh, God. That doesn't sound like a real name. He said the woman in the bar had a nice rack. Do we want to comment on that? Did she?
I couldn't
I
tell.
didn't take any notice of it.
I couldn't
so-
tell. I couldn't tell if she had a nice rack.
She was leaning on the bar the whole time, wasn't she?
Oh, it doesn't mean that she didn't
she
have a
was
nice rack.
Well, yeah, but we can't comment on the rack if we can't see it, because she was like, slouching over
So
the
that's
bar.
a no from Bartek.
She was slouched.
It's a
and
no.
wasn't
It's a
scantily
no
clad,
from
so-
me.
It's a show me your tits from Bartek,
So,
Ryan.
but if it's a yes or no, it's a no.
If it's a yes or no, it's like a show me so I can answer.
Yeah,
So
I,
it's
th-
a
I
no,
think I
then.
think the story violated show don't tell. If this woman had a nice rack, we clearly should have seen
It'll
it.
be that. I think there's like a Buddhist answer, a state of nothingness, not a yes or no.
Yes, put that on your school test exam and see how that answer gets ticked.
Oh yes, the famous school of answer exam where you have to write yes or
We're
no.
just asking a simple question, and you're
Well,
just like, "Well, I need the. That's the problem. That's the problem. I'm making a point of everything about this particular episode, and all of them. You need more. You need
Exactly,
something.
yes. I
There's
agree.
no theme or message to this one other than guy is scared, then guy isn't scared, because at the end of the day, he's not.
The message is be a guy.
Be a guy.
Be a guy.
I'm just trying to be a guy.
Episode 3.
The frag.
The fragging. Or as we should really call it, night. Just night. It's just fucking them walking
It's
around
dark.
at night, and it's dark, and you couldn't see what was going on because we haven't talked about the big thematic issue of I'm calling it the thematic issue, the technical issue as well.
You mentioned the color at one
that
point.
everything is blue because this
Very blue.
is a very
Particularly at night.
terrible DVD transfer.
The dark stuff, there's no black, it's dark blue.
And it is blue, 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 and you can't tell who is who, because also one of the problems is this story has a lot, unfortunately, I don't know how to say this without coming across racist, but I will say it anyway. Most of the characters are black, they are at night, not well lit, and everything's fucking blue, and I couldn't tell who was who. I couldn't tell who our main character was in comparison to the other black people that were in the episode.
Yeah.
And I'm supposed to care. This episode has an interesting true story that should be a movie, and you expand upon it, which is basically it's these troops that are war as hell, and their squadron commander or captain is bad at his job and keeps leading them in death scenarios.
Many have died, and the main character who
19.
God knows what his name is, his best friend Miller has been killed by these
and all he's
by
got
this
left
reckless
is his
and incompetent command. By
all
this
he's got
commander
left is
officer.
that lighter.
All
The
he has
lighter-
left is Miller's lighter. It's his last connection to Miller.
and that lighter does not light. So he's very different to that first lighter in the first episode that always lights.
You would not be able to get $25 for this lighter.
And this episode's true story is this squadron or platoon or whatever are figuring out, let's do treason. let's murder the captain so that they install a new one who actually knows what the fuck they're
Murder
doing.
with a frag grenade. Hence
Well,
the
that
frag
that
It's a
comes in.
fragging.
And throw it in the toilet while he's there. And this one, it's all these are so simple, but this one's really interesting. Like the idea that they would have the moral, like this is a true story. Can you imagine all the moral stuff of leading up to the decision to kill your captain, and you're in the American Army and you're in Vietnam, and the captain, we never really get to meet him really or know him.
Yeah.
So what happens at the end with him kind of feels nothing. Even though
There's
that
not-
could
there's
be
not enough-
dramatically
there's
interesting.
not enough time to develop this story. It's too compacted.
And our main character just decides with another group of people to kill him. But meanwhile, the B story is happening, which we didn't know was a B story, which is two guys are arguing with each other throughout the whole episode. They get into a fist fight at one point, and the main character breaks it up. They're arguing at night, and they're arguing about how one of them deserves the R&R break over the other one.
The commanding officer has introduced this thing. It's like you kill a Viet Cong soldier, you get 2 days R&R.
And
these two characters are having this debate because they both allege they both shot the same guy, so they're fighting over the R&R.
And then at the end, one of them apparently goes crazy and shoots the other one in cold blood and claims that he's killed a Viet Cong and he deserves 2 days off. And the captain loses...
Should have asked for 4 days then.
Yeah.
Come on.
The captain loses his mind and cries, and he's completely insane.
Yeah, he starts thinking that the people that died are... in front of
Everyone.
him, Yeah.
He thinks our main character is Miller. Miller was his best friend.
Look, man, I'm sorry about Miller. All right, I know you guys were tight. You know him a long time?
Yeah. Jumped school, Fort Campbell. Visited each other's families. Wrote his sister Elaine.
All right, his sister, that's great, man. Hey, you know, next time you see her, you give her one from me, man.
You 8 years old, you sick motherfucker.
Bartek, anything you want to talk about with this episode? It was pretty standard stuff.
The weapons were nice and clean.
First priority, clean your weapons and gear. No one leaves the area unless their weapons and equipment are clean. CO says no beer, no queue, no passes unless weapons and equipment are clean. I will be inspecting weapons and equipment.
See, when you just want to summarize the main plot, you miss the details.
Also, what about the bullets? The drawing of lots, guys.
Yes. And the headband guy that Ryan likes.
See, when the group has finally agreed, it's like, all right, we're going to kill the commanding officer by chucking this grenade while he's on the toilet. They can't decide. It's like who's going to do it, and they can't decide. So they're like, we'll draw lots, but they don't have straws or cigarettes or something. They go with bullets, right? So I thought they put a bunch of bullets in a helmet and they all pick one out. I thought it was going to be most of the bullets would be a certain length, and then there'd be like a shorter one.
Yeah.
But no, there wasn't. One of them, just one of the bullets, they're all the exact same size, and one of them has like pink on it that I did not see at all.
I was the only one that
Bartek
saw
picked it up, probably
And-
because the screen's so fucking blue.
And I'll take Bartek's word that it's there. But
I
I don't.
I was scanning the whole screen because I was confused, and the only one that stood out was on the pink tip, and it followed the camera of the person that picked it. So I'm like, oh, okay. I
And
guess it
then
was a pink tip.
did that person go and do the fragging? Oh wait, no. Our main character went, no, I'll do it anyway. So that 40-year-long sequence was fucking pointless.
And that was then interrupted by the B story shooting, right?
Yeah.
So it didn't end up.
And it didn't end up happening. Fragging.
And there was a great deal of confusion about the B story shooting, is because
It's so dark.
The U.S. soldier who gets shot, it's so dark, and there's this patch of darkness around his head that really looks like he's got long black hair. So he
I
looks
thought
like
it was
a woman.
I thought it
initially.
was like a Viet Cong woman had snuck into the base and he had shot her, and that's why it made sense to me that he's like, I killed one of the Viet Cong, I deserve a break. Then,
So,
it was
just how
very
poorly lit the
late,
scene is,
very late in the scene, the captain bends over and it's like, oh, it's a guy. A guy that I hadn't met before either, really. We didn't know what they look like.
Guy!
Yes, I was going to say, it wasn't a Viet Cong woman, it was an American guy.
I'm just trying to be a guy.
I guess the captain gets booted out and the episode just kind of ends.
And
wait, we gotta. I mean, this episode. I mean, this was not executed well. But we gotta go into the details where they
Where they were showering?
Our main character. Oh yeah, we gotta talk about fucking showers and shit. Like the bit where they're talking about cleaning the weapons, and the guy's like, "Should I clean myself? Should I have a shower?" It's like, I don't give a fuck what you do. I don't give a fuck if you don't you dare shower.
There was a lot of swearing. There was a lot of, I think, a lot of these characters were a bit younger, so there was a lot of like, man, guy, that kind of stuff.
If I come back into this fucking barracks and you don't reek, I am gonna lose it.
Anyway, they have a shower sequence too, and it's like, I said finally, because I was worried that we weren't going to get some male buttocks in this, some pale fucking pasty male buttocks in the background of a shot, but we did. So thankfully, we got some nice skin action, and our main characters are bathing, and one of them walks away, the main guy, and he's facing away, and he's several feet away at this point, and he's talking, and it's just like, imagine this, like, Bartek's having a shower, he's facing me.
I imagine that all the time.
He sees my back, and he's got water that's pouring on his head, and he's in the Viet Cong, so you've already got all these bug noises, and noises of other people chatting in the showers, and you got me, like, let's say, 7 feet away, like, 5 to 7 feet away, going, war as hell, I just don't know. And Bartek's like, what are you saying? And the guy didn't say that. The guy's like, you're right. And he's speaking at a volume in which the other guy won't hear him. Because it's like, they're a bit of a distance away. Enough for you to be like, you're right. But he's just like, you're right.
Yeah, he doesn't, the guy with the main character with the back to the gentleman in the shower, he doesn't like yell the lines. He's like,
it's not even
I feel hollowed out,
you're giving
empty
it more,
inside. I'm yelling too much. I'm yelling too much.
It's not about yelling. It's just about projecting. He's just like, I feel hollow. He's like, in the actual audio, he's kind of breathing it under his breath. He's breathing the line out,
empty
and
inside.
the guy won't fucking hear him. And it's just like, shit like that is the most interesting part. But that's something that only someone like me, with the brain of wanting to have fun while watching this and get anything out of it, would notice. If I didn't mention it, you guys probably wouldn't have thought about it.
Honestly, I was mostly giggling at the fact that the guy that was listening, the guy that heard, had a really dirty face and was in a shower, but because, like, that's part of his makeup for that scene, he can't have it be washed off, so he was, like, just slightly out of the water.
Yeah. Is there anything else to discuss with
Do you want to go into detail about the guy with the headband?
The main character, he goes into the fucking bloke, the commanding officer's office.
Oh yeah, he's walking towards it, isn't he?
After, the commanding officers had the big freak out, and they find the 19 letters. They find the 19 letters.
The letters, of course.
Of all the soldiers that have died, and he's trying to write the 19 letters to their families, but he can't do it. He's had such a mental breakdown. He's so haunted by
and
the
these
people
letters
he's
are
killed.
Fucked up.
And
they're all like, I'm in hell, and your son's
letters.
there too, and like...
I like the letter where he wrote it and he was like, there's a form that I usually have to fill out for these, but that would be too cold. It gives you this idea that, like, he's trying to personalize all these tragedies.
But could you imagine being the mother of a kid that died in Vietnam and you get a letter that's like, your son died and frankly, I don't remember where. I know it's my fault though. And you're like, what the fuck is this?
Your son died in... Oh, I can't remember the place, but I wish I could forget him too. But he's right there watching me write this letter.
Isn't it usually with Americans, and especially that era, when a soldier died, they would send a soldier to their house with a letter. Can you imagine being that soldier and they read the letter and they're like, what the fuck did you send this to me for? There's a guy with a headband who's, I don't even know if he's an Italian type, he's just a type. And every line he speaks, it feels like he's acting. He's just like, leave me the fuck alone, man. I'm reading the shit, man. I've got a scar on my face, man. Just man. I'm acting, dude. And he's just like, why didn't they kill him?
Hey, fuck that shit, man. This is revenge, dig? Sure and simple. He killed some of my friends. He killed your best fucking friend, man.
I really did appreciate on a film level that, yeah, we had the issue with the blue and the sound was decent enough and we had good actors for the most part doing decent work. Like the acting overall for the main hitters was decent.
Mm-hmm.
The thing I liked film-wise, though, was we got a tasteful 25-second long static shot of a captain in the third episode getting lunch from...
Oh, yes, that's right, yeah.
From a pot of stew. That was 25 seconds that I really appreciated that I spent my time on. It was great.
That was the most energetic you were.
I was like,
the whole
yay!
time.
He got that soup.
We got to see him get soup. Now I wish, if it was a good movie, they just sat on him walking off frame and they just left the camera sitting on the stew for another 40 minutes. And then maybe he comes back and gets seconds. I would have fucking cheered. I would be like, yay! But instead we had to cut to the guy reacting to him getting soup, and he had a face like, maybe I should kill this guy because he got soup. That was actually the triggering event for him to be like, yeah, fuck him. He got soup. This is going to be a different type of recommendation.
Recommend all three?
Which episode... Let's rank them from best to worst. Will, since you stuck through this to the bloody end with Bartek, I'd love to hear your best to worst out of the three, and I want to hear detailed reasonings as to why.
Okay. I'm gonna go An Old Ghost Walks the Land.
Is this worst to best or best to worst?
Flashback.
Let's rank them from best to worst.
End of flashback.
An Old Ghost Walks the Land.
Dusk to Dawn or Fragging?
Yeah, no, the Fragging. Then Dusk to Dawn? Yeah.
And why for each of those have you placed them in that order?
An Old Ghost Walks the Land... it was the first one, so I was not quite as tired of it by then. And then the Fragging... the Fragging was a really, really... interesting story. It's not executed well in the episode, but it's still a really, really interesting story. And then Dusk Till Dawn, or Dusk from Dawn, Dusk to Dawn.
Dusk to Dawn.
That was fucking boring for most of it until I got to the bar, and the bartender just goes absolutely ballistic. So if you're gonna watch that one, just skip to the dive bar.
Okay, Bartek, what about you? From best to worst, what's your ranking? And give us your reasonings. Like, get into some detail about these, man.
Yeah, so with best, I would say that I did enjoy Dusk to Dawn after they left the
bar,
the
restaurant.
party, the restaurant, because there it was just, lots of dancing and music. At least after there, there was characters that we kind of understood. Like, there's hipstery guy, there's Asian guy, there's Marine guy. You could
Dale
or Doyle, yeah, Dale.
And Teebs?
Are you thinking of Harry Potter or something, or what?
I really don't know what the fuck I'm thinking of there. Sorry, please continue.
Yeah, I just felt like I at least understood characters better in Dusk to Dawn. Definitely I'd say that the Fragging had the most potential.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd put it probably, Dusk to Dawn, very close second, the Fragging, and An Old Ghost Walks the Land last, because that one I felt was the most messy.
Really?
Maybe. I found it a little tricky to follow. I think a common thing with all these is, when you think of the 3-act structure, beginning, middle, end, I felt like the ends were the best of all three.
Oh, yeah.
But that begs the question of, could you not have
Wait, hold on. Would you really say the end of Dusk Till Dawn was the best of it? Because the end is them sitting on a porch talking about how a girl had a big rack and then they're going to go to war anyway.
I kind of saw that as a bit like an epilogue kind of thing.
Okay.
But basically, yeah, the after they leave the party, after that, I consider all that the end. But I guess, that would be the middle-ish. Basically, alright, forget 3-act structures, first half, second half. I felt the second halves of all of them were better than the first halves. But that begs the question, could the first halves not have been, better?
So, okay, interesting. You went backwards of what I'm going to go. I'm going to go...
I went backwards of Will.
Yeah, I'm with Will. It goes, the ghost one, the fragging one.
So 1, 3, 2 for both of you.
And then Dusk to Dawn. The first one, here's my reasoning. It was focused. We were on two characters with conflicting ideologies, conflicting perspectives, and it all comes to a head dramatically. It's a really sad true story. Like, when you think of out of all these ones that were real stories, that's the most tragic one out of the three.
For sure.
So, on a level of also being based on true material, it's also the most hefty one as well.
The second one actually didn't have any tragedy, really. Just implied.
No, it was just kind of... And Wesley Snipes gave a great performance, as did the other guy. I like that we actually got to know those two characters as humans, as characters, even if it was in a short period of time. And I like that there was setups and payoffs. The fragging one has the best idea of an episode story, like of a story. It's just not as fleshed out as you would want it to. I want to know more about this captain. I want to know more about the troops and their moralities and lack of moralities and ethics. And I want to know what the fuck's going on with that B story more. Like, I wish it was shot better. I wish it wasn't at night. It's such an interesting true story of these guys going to perform treason. And there's no weight to it. They weren't afraid of consequences. And you could make that a thing, like, whoa, these guys are so unhinged that they're not afraid of consequences for killing a superior officer. And then Dusk to Dawn, nothing. There's nothing I liked about it. Like, just performances were fine. Lars was fine, he cried. The guy from the anime dubs, he played it cheesy. I guess that was fine. But it didn't have any message. It didn't have a theme. The other ones had messages to them. They had ideas. They had things that you could take away from them. It
felt more like a backstory. Like something's going to happen later, and this could have been.
If it was a first episode of a series about that guy going to war, maybe. But it wasn't.
Yeah.
It was an anthology series, and we
That means
never
it's
see that guy
standalone.
again.
Yeah.
Would we recommend this television series, having seen pretty much a quarter of it?
A third, literally a third.
Yeah, literally a third, sorry.
3 of 9.
Seeing a third of it, would you recommend it? And are you going to check out the others of the 7.5 out of 10 series?
Well, we're not going to be bold and recommend the whole thing. It's going to be of just these 3 episodes. If you have this specific disc.
No. We watched War Story. Would you recommend War Story?
Of the 3 episodes I saw, no, I wouldn't recommend it.
No. Out of 3, no. Yeah, fair enough. But why? You seem far more positive about it. Even when watching it, you seem
I'm
far
just
more
being
positive.
a bit more devil's advocate about it. Doesn't mean I liked it that much.
William Brooks, you chose this.
I didn't want to rush through the episode or anything like that.
Well, it was on my head. So, I mean, I guess after I've made that mistake, I might as well make this other mistake. It's like, yeah, I'll recommend it. Why not?
Really?
You guys just go for it. What if the other 6, Ryan, are really, really good?
You got me there.
What if we haven't seen the other 6? What if they're all masterpieces?
You got me there. Too bad I didn't buy those on DVD.
Wait, guys. We forgot to mention one of the really important thing about episode 3.
Yeah?
They're eating water buffalo steaks.
Oh, yeah.
That sounds great.
Yum, yum. Yum, yum. I do not recommend this. I'm annoyed and furious that we watched all 3. I knew from pretty much the get-go that this was going to be fucking mind-numbing and horrible to talk about and to watch. I wanted to watch another thing,
but now it won't be in the box anymore.
Well, it wouldn't have been in the box if we got to watch another thing.
Really treasonous to the show right now. Right?
Well, there's no precedent in the show that we watch a television series.
You're fragging the mystery box right now.
We've never watched a television series for the show. So that's why I was like, oh, can we just watch a movie? And especially an anthology one as well, where each individual story is only half an hour long and they matter to nothing in the end.
But it's the mystery box. We have to watch what's on the disc.
Yeah.
And again, like, it was just 90 minutes in total. It's feature length.
I'm telling you,
felt long.
you guys can justify your reasonings. I am just telling the listening people why I am so furious about this and my perspectives.
And that's the episode. So, yeah, it's good.
Okay, what year do you think it came out, fellas?
Do you actually know the answer?
Oh, I do.
Okay, good.
I had a guess beforehand. I guessed 1992. What about you boys?
Okay, I was thinking...
Now, remember, it's a HBO show, so...
I don't know much about HBO, to be honest. But, look, I know the Vietnam War was in the 70s. So it's definitely going to be after the 70s, I reckon. I don't think it's...
It wasn't filmed live?
Yeah,
No.
you don't know. Wesley Snipes is older than you think. Black don't crack.
Well, I don't think that's the problem. I don't know if your HBO hint is like HBO started in 82 or something like
Well,
that.
I think it's a good idea that it didn't start in the 60s.
Yeah, neither did the war.
Well, yes, it did.
Did it? I thought it was
Yes.
all 70s.
It started in the 60s and went to the 70s.
Okay. I'm gonna guess... I'm still thinking the 80s. I'm gonna guess 1984.
William B.B. Brooks.
I'm not really familiar with the history of HBO as a company, so your hint is just whoosh. So I'm gonna guess 1996, not based on any kind of reason or logic. I've just purely got a kind of feeling in my gut.
That was me for my
1996.
choice. Well, we're all wrong. It was 1988.
Okay, so it was 80s.
It was 80s. It went for one season, 7.5. A lot of prestigious actors turned up in it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, now prestigious, or now known actors.
Yes.
We watched War Story, but is the war really over?
It ended a while ago.
Because we're in a war right now.
Oh, no.
And we have to end the war of Vietnam that we are in because we're in the shit, man.
What was the result of the Vietnam War?
Shit, man.
What the fuck are you talking about? Yeah, we're in the shit, man. You don't know the results. So you're going to have to make the results of the Vietnam War, man.
Could I go into an anecdote?
About your stories of the Vietnam War? I'm so ready.
Yeah, sort of. This one time we were in a group project, 5 of us, and we had to pick a country to do the history of, and ours was Vietnam.
Mm-hmm.
And one of our teammates, kind of the principal, who was also a history teacher, came to the table at one point. Most of us weren't there at that particular time, but one of my teammates was, and she asked, and eventually came to us, who won the Vietnam War? And he, with very, very slowly worked out, we did. And that cost us marks.
What an idiot. Well, we haven't won the war yet. We have to pick a character, one of many, from each episode. We have to pick 3 characters.
For 3 different battlefields.
We all get to pick one.
Okay.
I'm picking from the first episode because that's the one I liked.
Mm-hmm. It's also one Will liked.
But Will gets to choose the last episode because it's the one he likes second, and you get to pick your favorite.
We all like
episode.
that one second.
Yeah, but Will didn't choose the fucking worst one as his top one, so you get to have that one.
Sure.
So who do you pick from the worst one?
Well, you pick the first one, so you pick the first one.
No. See, majority rules here. We
Will hasn't said
we both said, Will and I, that one was the worst. So the majority is in that's the worst one.
So it's the worst, so it goes first.
Exactly. So you pick yours.
So it's the best.
No.
Let's give it to Eye Patch Guy. He seems to know a thing or two.
William, from fragging, who would you select to help us fight a war?
Oh, I've got to go with the cook. The cook has water buffalo steaks and soup.
There you go.
It's the cook, hands down.
And Ryan, from the ghost that walks the land.
Well, there's many characters.
The old ghost that walks the land.
The old ghost. I'm choosing the ghost itself. The concept of what did we say that concept was?
I like how it's your favorite one,
the
but I'm the one that had
cynicism.
the interpretation of the title.
The cynicism of the older serving officers.
The notion that you have to, harden yourself.
Okay,
and-
so I'm choosing
the
erections,
the
harding.
Well, see now, Ryan, you're cheating.
Why, you've chosen concepts before.
Well, you can choose a concept now. You're just making a joke.
I wasn't making a joke. Wesley Snipes was really hard in that episode, as was Will watching it.
So you picking
I
Wesley
mean,
Snipes'
I was
penis?
erect.
No,
I can't deny
I'm
it.
choosing the concept of erections, okay?
Okay.
So your guys are both guys. Guys? They're guys.
And so are the three of us.
Be a guy.
So it's 5 guys and the concept of an erection.
Which is very guy related.
Wait,
Yes.
5 guys. The American burger joint.
Yeah. So
Do they
we're
have
Well,
we're-
Ryan
erections?
didn't
Do
pick
they
a
have
6th guy,
erections
so
there?
So we're in a war. The Viet Cong are sniping us down. Bartek's been hit in the shoulder.
My action is to touch my shoulder.
Ow, you should have gone. You've been hit in the shoulder.
Yeah, well, yeah, I touch my shoulder. That's what I do.
So then
I could see that in the podcast.
Then they shoot me in the leg. Ow, my leg. It hurts real bad.
Do you touch your leg, though?
No, because
he
touching
didn't
it
touch
gets
his
it
leg.
infected. We learned that in A Ghost Walks the Land.
Well, my hands are clean.
So then, well,
You're gonna get
in
a-
the...
you're gonna get a
I'm
bit
home
of-
in America,
Well,
so my hands are clean.
evidently, you do not know that you're clean because we're in the shit, man. We're deep in it, dude. We already went through this, man. Will, he's been shot right in the eye. The medics came over. They're like, we could save his eye, but Will said no. Slapped it out of their hands.
Well, he hasn't made a vow not to take it.
Unfortunately, we're as a trio unable to make moves ourselves. We're too injured.
I've got a
we
good
need. No, you're injured. You're injured because
one
they
arm.
shot you in your good arm.
I still
Well,
got my
too bad, dude.
I got
too
my
bad.
second best arm.
Too bad, dude. Because Bartek, you've set a precedent in your life. You wear your watch on your good arm, and you don't wear it on your other arm, which is what society and humans do.
Oh, you're
so,
a big society man.
So, dude, we're in the shit, man. Since you wear your watch on your right hand and you're right-handed, that means your left hand is basically paralyzed as well. It's like if you tried to lift a gun, it would just fall out of your hand because you're just so weak with that left hand. You're just too dominant on that right hand. So
I got shot in my
unfortunate-
right hand.
in your right arm, and your whole arm's like, oh.
And because I also happen to wear a watch on that arm, my left arm is paralyzed.
It's basically you got atrophy because
out.
it's really weak.
Checks out.
Because you don't use both of them as we do in society with watches. You see, you wear your watch on your non-dominant arm. On your non.
But you know, when
you do. So that means your left arm weak. So we're as a trio unavailable to obtain.
There are certain things I only do with my
moves.
left arm, but let's not. Go
We
into
well
that.
well. Oh boy, it's taxes, and wanking, of course. But what we're doing is we're unavailable. We're injured. We're bleeding out. Bartek's fine though, because he's knitting he's knitting with his left hand, because that's what he does with it.
Just the one.
Just the one.
I haven't
he
fought
uses
in
his
wars.
teeth, but he's too busy knitting. So we need to make each of our people or concept do something to help us survive the Vietnam War. I'll go first. Since I'm the concept of erections, my guy, my individual, my concept, it's much harder to do a physical move. But since the Viet Cong are out there, I kind of spread this idea of erections, and they kind of get turned on. You know,
It's
like,
like a
very
cult.
turned
It's like a cult
on.
of erections.
They get very turned on, and it makes it hard for them to lay down in their sniping positions because they got wood. And you know, like sometimes when you have a really stiff, hard cock in the morning and you have to go pee, you kind of like have to either wait for the erection morning wood to go down, or you kind of
lean
have
forward
to
or whatever.
lean forward.
Yeah.
Well, when you're laying down and you got a sniping position, you can't just sit there knowing that you got a raging woody on. So they're
You
gonna
rest-
go.
No,
so
never
they're
mind.
kind of like wiggling around, giving their positions away. What does your cook do, Will?
Well, it's gonna be
cooks that
hard
sausage.
to it's gonna be hard to top those Viet Cong erections, but I think the cookie's gotta get low with his barbecue on wheels, right? He's gotta sort of roll it out, and he'll throw the steaks into the jungle, and hopefully they'll be distracted by the steaks. And then once he gets to me, he's gonna lift me up and throw me down onto the grill so it like cauterizes my wound to my eye, so then he can take me back to camp.
There you go.
But unfortunately, the beer's going to be warm, as it established.
Will's already gone to camp, man. He's left us behind. Him and the cook. What are you going to do, Bartek, with your mighty choice of guy with eye patch who's 80 years old?
His skin looked very, very good, though.
It was firm skin. It was very firm skin.
No,
it looked soft.
Well, old people look soft.
It was plush
but like
skin.
it wasn't wrinkly though. It was.
Old people look soft.
He looked strangely young for someone who supposedly was in World War II.
He looked old. What are you on about? He looked old.
He was old, but he wasn't that old, is what I'm saying.
He looked like he was an 80-year-old man.
He didn't look 80.
He looked exactly 80.
He didn't look 80.
He looked...
like guys...
You know why? Because he was fat. That's why he looked... Maybe that's why he looks softer and less wrinkly, because he has that fat.
You hear that, everyone? If you're fat, you look younger.
He's like a tree. I counted the rings. He's
like
exactly
when you're bald
65.
at a young age, and then when you're old, no one can tell that you're old because you've looked that way the whole time. If you're fat, you're going to stay the same, man. Except for die earlier, probably, from cardiac arrest or something, or diabetes, or sleep apnea, I don't know.
You couldn't fit through a gap.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why he lost his eye.
So
it's actually Will in the future. He's the old man with the eye patch.
Wait, the future. So this World War II was after the Vietnam War.
It's an alternative world.
So, actually, you know what? It's good that I went last because now we've established they're horny, they got food. How do you complete the trifecta?
They fuck him in his eye hole.
With some sex.
Yeah, they fuck him in his eye hole.
So this old guy here, I ask him while knitting with my left arm, I ask him, what do we do about the Vietnamese? And he tells me we should drop an atomic bomb on them. And I tell him, that's crazy. That is really crazy. Wait a second, crazy? And then I spread the concept of craziness to a bunch of American women. And I tell them, run! Run towards the Vietnamese and the meat. And then...
The meat as in their erections, or...?
Well, the meat that the cook threw.
Oh, not the meat that is their hard, raging penises.
Run to both meats.
To the deli section, ladies!
And then I tell everyone on our side in the war, guys, let's go home, because it'll solve itself.
And then I just get up, I'm like, okay, let's go.
Yes.
I told you guys this film was pornographic.
I wish it was a film. I wish
this
it was.
TV show was pornographic.
So, thank you very much, William Brooks of the Billy Bob variety, for coming on and picking War Story. I'm so glad that we watched it in the end. I've been waiting to watch this for years at this point, it feels like. But, you know, I might have come across a bit cynical in this episode, but I'm actually smiling from ear to ear because it's over now. Mm-hmm. We never have to watch it again, except for me, who has to watch it when I edit these episodes and drop them in, because I'm the only one who's able to edit. So, huzzah for me. It's like they get punished again.
Well, you know, I got shot in the arm.
Yeah, that's it, and he can't use that left arm. He's too busy wanking. So, you guys at home have been fantastic, amazing, wonderful listening people. As always, you can find us on the social medias of Facebook and Twitter under Spit and Polish Presents. We're on YouTube as well as all those other podcast platforming sites, such as your, not iTunes, Apple Podcasts, your Spotify, your Google Play, even, you know,
iHeartRadio,
Stitcher. Not Groove Shark, though. We're not on Groove Shark. But I guess I could also say thank you, Bartek, for braving the Vietnam War that we went through. We were in the shit, man, and now we're out of the shit, bro.
Now we're in the showers.
What? I couldn't hear you. What? So, as always, you have been fantastic people. Until next time, listening people, remember... Be kind to each other, okay?
Hello. My name is. Hello. My name is. Hello. My name is. Frank Walker from National Park. Hello. My name is. Hello. My name is. Hello. Hello. My name is Frank Walker from National Tiles.